Bang.
Bang. Welcome back, folks. Some technical difficulties, but what else is new? Not on our end, but technical difficulties across the spectrum, from crypto exchanges to brokers to just way too much traffic on most networks right now for crypto in general. And believe it or not, it even impacted our broadcast. So happy to have you, those of you who can join us today, and seeing a nice little rebound after just another brutal crypto weekend. What do you say, Matt?
Yeah, this was a another pretty brutal weekend, but I gotta say, John, I'm feeling encouraged today. I'm feeling like there's some new life being breathed into the markets, and it's a pretty nice day outside here in Chicago. I'm feeling good. CJ, you shared this with me before we went live. Some pretty positive news here regarding the pandemic situation. You want to talk about this and kind of what you think about it?
Absolutely. Had a little bit of a bullish sign in crypto this weekend. Of course, we have to be hesitant because that Sunday dip has been so consistent. So for the viewers out there, hope you got your Sunday dip buying opportunity. But yeah, let's start the week with some good news here because US COVID daily new cases are now the lowest since the start of the pandemic. And so June is really looking favorable for a potential opening across a lot of various places. So, I mean, forget markets for a second, just for a humanitarian perspective, this is a great thing for our society. Also want to give a brief shout out to one of our community members, Josh Singh, who is a cardiologist at the top of his field. Thank you for your risking your life on the front lines and for your societal contribution. But overall, great stat to start the week with, and the markets are up as a result.
Yeah, well, for sure. And we're only, not quite a little more than a week, I guess, out from you guys and me being down at Bitcoin 2021 in Miami. So that's at the Wynwood area where Art Basel takes place. And it's been an interesting couple of years because, in the midst of the crypto winter, you could shoot a cannon through there and not hit people, which, just a year before that, it was just rocking in 2017. Then all of a sudden, as things rolled over, it was, pretty much a ghost town. There were some cryptopreneurs there, but ooh. And then last year it started picking up a little bit more. But unfortunately, we have a pandemic that CJ just was talking about that kept things from being in person virtually everywhere. This year it'll be in person. And my understanding is, guys, that the event is pretty close to sold out. And they're expecting 5,000 or 6,000 people at Bitcoin 2021. And so we're pretty excited about it. There'll be a lot of interesting, Jack Dorsey's going to be there. Let's see, our buddy Kevin O'Leary is going to be leading off a keynote address. There'll be Michael Saylor, I believe, is going to be there, guys. So a lot of the folks that you hear about in the press all the time about their companies as well as crypto are going to be there. So definitely Market Rebellion and Voyager will have a booth there. And that, let's see, that's going to be, I think, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, guys? The 4th, 5th, and 6th, something like that of June?
Yep. And Monty and I will be manning that booth. So if you'd like to come up and talk to us about the trading platform that we've been building out, as well as our education center, we will be there.
Yeah, should be great. And by the way, Monty did a great job filling in this charity event this weekend, Traders for a Cause. Traders for a Cause is underwritten by a trader who pays all the expenses so that any of the donations go 100% to the causes. And in the past, it's been breast cancer research, it's been pediatric cancer, it's been ALS. It was military veterans this time around, along with other charities that they give 100% of the money to. And Monty was talking about crypto. He did the windup more or less with Jill Malandrino from the NASDAQ. Give us maybe a Cliff Notes version, Monty. What did you talk with Jill about?
Sure. Yeah, it was a great time. I was honored to be brought on for such a great cause. But essentially what Jill and I talked about was, more or less the overlap between the traditional equity markets and the crypto markets, and how here at Market Rebellion in our community, we've seen a ton of traders come over from the legacy markets and successfully apply their, decades of experience in those markets to the crypto markets and make a tremendous profit. So, there's a there's almost like a psychological barrier of entry to the crypto space. People see all these new cryptocurrency projects and they hear all these, cryptocurrency specific terms. But the fact of the matter is crypto is a trending market and you can apply technicals to it just like any other trending market. And I think that's something that's overlooked. So I just basically went through the basics and just talked about, how you can apply just the basics of, moving averages or different oscillators and stochastics, just like you do to traditional markets to crypto. And it works very well.
Yeah, well, it was an interested audience for sure, and a lot of positive feedback. So great job there. Today, guys, obviously, definitely got a bounce going on. For just as CJ said at the top of the show, if you were somebody who waits around for some of these weekend sell-offs, boy, did you get an opportunity.
32s. Actually, on Bitstamp, I'm seeing a reading of 31,200. So anyone who's watching the charts, yeah, not an easy day to be long, especially in the alts. When you have that type of price action in Bitcoin, the alts were down 20, 30, 40% in certain cases, whereas Bitcoin was down about 10 to 15 and fluctuating in that range.
Yeah, and trading volume in the last 24 hours, folks, has been amazing. I mean, during the drop, when people were pulling back, the volume dropped all the way down to a reading of about, let me see here, looks like about, what was that low number? Shoot. It's up 25% in the last 15, 20 minutes. We're looking at a volume right now, 24-hour trading volume of about 76 billion in Bitcoin. A nice robust number. And like I say, it on the lows, it might have been in the 60 billion range, which is pretty darn low for Bitcoin. BTC is back up to 44.5% dominance. Ethereum's holding in there. It's still 18%. The Bitcoin dominance dropped last week to as far as anybody could tell, a multi-year low. I think it was 5-year low when it traded beneath 35 as far as the dominance. But right now, I think that one of the biggest things is that money has flowed back in at a key support level. Like CJ just said, whether that's the 31 to 32 range, people definitely came back in. 39 will serve as resistance just up above us, I think, guys, because that was support. And we all know that when you break through a support level, that becomes resistance above you. So it's been a nice rally so far today, a rally back in the last 24 hours, but that's going to be an overhang to see how much we can get through 39. And we rarely see triple bottoms, so I'm not really calling for us to retest that 32 level again.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jon. And CJ, I want to pose a question to you because, you've been talking about this for a while and you've actually been one of the, a more kind of bearish minded trader. You actually were calling the possibility of this bottom here. What are you seeing currently in Bitcoin? you were kind of waiting for a bullish engulfing candle on the bottom. Is this good enough confirmation for you, or are you still waiting for a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the end of the day. I do think we're very promising in the way the trend is postured. And I'm glad that Jon brought up that resistance at around 39 to 40K, because that's going to play into the analysis a lot. I think we are kind of postured in terms of the trend and the bullish engulfing candle we've seen for an interim reaction rally. But the critical question now is, do we get rejected if we experience a reaction rally to those levels? And I still see that former support turning into resistance being quite strong. So I am bullish in the short term. However, I can't say that the for sure low is in yet.
Well, the one real positive thing I think, guys, is we might have hit an all-time low in the crypto greed and fear index. I know you guys follow that, and it's somewhat similar to when I'm talking about volatility and saying, I like buying when volatility's high and selling when volatility's low. I don't mean, exiting Bitcoin necessarily. I just mean in Bitcoin land, even though volatility spiked dramatically and went from 60 to 130 this weekend, guys, well, not just over the weekend, but during the sell-off, when you have a very low reading, it's basically telling you that there are, if you want to look at it this way, which is how I look at it, the greed and fear index goes 0 to 100. So unlike volatility, which could be anything, you can see Bitcoin was 130 vol over the weekend, and it had been 60 back in April. This greed and fear index, it goes from a low end, meaning that nobody wants the cryptocurrency supposedly, and it was in the single digits. They had a reading of 9, CJ, over the weekend as far as the greed and fear index, which meant that it's 91% bearish, only 9% bullish, which generally is the time when you want to buy. On the greed index, so that's the fear side. On the greed index, just a month ago, it was in the mid to high 70s as far as greed. And that's when we were pushing up over 60,000. So paying attention to the greed and fear index does kind of give you a little bit of a reading on how bullish or perhaps overconfident people are, and they were when it was in the 70s, and how panicked they were when it was single digits. Right now, they're showing a reading of somewhere between 10 and 12 as it's trying to bounce off of that. I don't have the live one right now, guys, but that was the reading just this morning was a reading of 10, which is, again, at multi-year lows as far as the fear index being that far skewed tells you that there's a majority of traders were not confident at all. And that's usually the best time to be confident and step in and buy the dip.
Absolutely, John. That's when, successful traders make a lot of their money. Like Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. I think we're seeing exactly that right now. But without further ado, you guys want to hop into our doges of the day, because I think there are some really great buying opportunities here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start it off.
Yes, CJ. What you got for us?
So there's quite a few assets that are postured technically very similar, and they're reaching, or they have reached, TD by 9s, and they've been followed up with bullish engulfing candles following that. So the first one is Ethereum. That's the one I will highlight. And I think Ethereum, if it can resume this positive bullish price action, it's going to bring a lot of others like it. One I also want to highlight as more of a Doge, because it has that lower market cap when compared to Ethereum, is Uniswap. It's got an immensely similar posture as Ethereum in the trend currently. So those two are going to be the ones in which I'm watching if we do get a bounce in Bitcoin up to that prior resistance level.
Yeah, I like that play, CJ. I like that play a lot. And, it kind of ties in with my play. CJ, I sometimes accuse you of stealing my Doge of the day, uh, but it's not very often that I have a member stealing my Doge of the day. But that's what happened today. I guess that's what happens when we push back our episode by just an hour. We have people, front running my ideas here. Moises Luna, I'm giving you a shout out because, you applied RTA perfectly and you chose our Doge of the day before we even went live. So he says, he's looking at ETH and comp, and of course, naturally, comp is my Doge of the day today. The DeFi sector was hit really hard during this sell-off, harder than the rest of the market. Um, CJ pointed out the value of the TD sequential 9. As you can see here with comp, we hit that 9, but we just kept plummeting. And this level of 416 is super critical for, you know, support and resistance going forward. Like you pointed out, John, before, we have these levels that can flip from support to resistance, and before this level had acted as both. On the way up, it acted as very strong resistance, but as you can see, after we made that run up, we consolidated right around this level of 416. So now that we've broken below that level, we've got a bullish engulfing candle following a hammer candle. I really like what I'm seeing in terms of this technical formation, and I think that if comp breaks above that level of 416, we could see it make a run back into the $500 level. So comp is one that I'm watching closely. It's a huge element of the DeFi sector. Comp, one of the top three biggest in terms of total value locked. And I think that as DeFi rebounds and Ethereum rebounds off those technicals that CJ just pointed out, comp will be a big benefactor of that retail speculation flooding back in. So comp is my Doge of the day today.
All right. And mine is going to be HT, that Hubai, if I'm pronouncing it even close to correct, token.
Orbi token. Yeah.
Yep, Hobie token. This one was nearly 30 last, probably a week ago today. And today you're able to pick it up at about 14 bucks. So has it rebounded from the lows when it was 12 just 24 hours ago? Yes. But at 14, I like the bounce. I think it continues. And I think people will, just as the other two gentlemen said, altcoins tend to get hit about twice as hard as Bitcoin itself on these sell-offs. The altcoins do. And this one's a top 50 coin. And to see it 50% off of a very recent high seems like a pretty reasonable level to me. So I like it right here. I think FTX might be one of the most actives in this one, but I like this one. HT is the symbol.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, that's all we got for today. Thank you guys for bearing with us and meeting us at a different time today. We'll be back at our regular time tomorrow. But, as always, if you want to come hang out with CJ and I, you can try our entire crypto community for just $1 for the first month. You can try at the link right below me, marketrebellion.com/try crypto. We have a pro charting service, a 24/7 community of traders all around the world. And there's some pretty intelligent ones like Moises Luna that are, putting out our doges of the day before we even go live. And, we publish trade insights, news, all sorts of stuff. So if you want to do that, just come hang out. It's just $1 for your first month. And as always, thank you to Voyager for sponsoring this show. You can earn up to 10% APY if you're holding USDC and Voyager token. But in terms of interest, they're the most competitive rates in the industry. So thank you to them for sponsoring this show as always. And that's all we got for today. So we will be back tomorrow. Thank you guys very much.